Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Welcome back for those of you who are already subscribed. It is Magically Musical here. Today I'm going to be discussing the differences between guitar and ukuleles. So our first difference that I'm going to discuss is about string. Guitars generally have 6 strings, whereas ukuleles generally have 4 strings. Ukuleles tend to have nylon strings, which are these white, more plastic looking strings on them. Occasionally you'll see one that has a steel string on the G, like the lowest note. Sometimes they replace it and tune it down. It just depends on the specific ukulele and the player and all that kind of stuff. And guitars generally have these steel strings. If you can see, they look a little bit more bronzy. Kind of sound a little bit more twangy, I guess you could call it. There are occasionally guitars that have more than 6 strings, like 8 and 12 string guitars, and bass guitar does have 4 strings, but it is tuned differently than ukulele as well, even though they do both have 4 strings. Another difference between guitars and ukuleles is that their tuning is totally different. So for guitars, they are tuned from the lowest to highest. With a capo on, and I'm just not going to take it off, which would be E, A, D, G, B, E. Whereas with ukuleles, they are totally random. So their tuning is G, C, A, E. G, C, A, E. So totally different notes. So it kind of structures chords differently. There are occasional crossovers that you notice once you've been playing ukulele for a while. I did start with ukulele, so playing G on ukulele is the same structure as D on the guitar, but they sound totally different because they're a different chord. So they're actually playing different notes, but have the same fingering position of where you are placing your fingers on the frets, which can be helpful when you are trying to learn both instruments and have that crossover. It came in handy really nice for me. When I was learning guitar my first time, I was about 12, and I had already played a multitude of different instruments at that point. I had played piano, I had played flute, clarinet, and trombone, maybe baritone. And I really struggled with guitar. It was the hardest instrument that I learned at all. I got really frustrated trying to learn it. It was complicated. I got excited when I could play like a chord or two here and there, but like just trying to move my pinky around or learning bar chords and things like that, I was just at a loss. Since I started doing ukulele, I picked up on that really quickly, really well. It was a lot easier having only 4 strings because I didn't have to reach as far, and I didn't feel like this was squishing into my body. Especially as a younger girl, I was like not big enough to play huge bodied acoustic guitars because like this feels like it's bigger than I am. But as I've gotten into it more, I've kind of learned how to position it better for my body and all that kind of stuff, but that's a different thing altogether, so I'm not going to get into that. Acoustics definitely have larger bodies, as you can tell. Totally different, right? As you can see, this looks almost like a little acoustic guitar. Really cool thing is even ukuleles have the ability, depending on which ukulele you get, to be plugged into an amp. Like this one even has a battery pack, a way to adjust the sound and volume and all that kind of stuff. So it's really nice to have that opportunity if you're wanting to play gigs and things like that, to be able to plug into a mic. Whereas, interestingly enough, some people don't know this, but this is an acoustic guitar. It does not plug in at all. Electric guitars that I have can plug into amps. There are specific acoustic guitars that do plug in, but you really got to look at that when you're purchasing to see if your ukulele or guitar plug in, because not all of them do and not all of them don't. So that's something to look at if you are thinking about purchasing a ukulele or a guitar. So to sum it up, I'm going to talk about some similarities between both ukulele and guitar. So obviously they both have strings. They both have fretboards. Generally, a guitar's is a little bit longer. It depends on which guitar you get and all that kind of thing. Both guitars and ukuleles can come in electric or acoustic styles and varieties, and they have different colors and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of pick your own flavor generally when it comes to choosing an instrument, which can be really nice. Whereas with things such as clarinets or flutes, I mean, you can kind of customize it. Like with flute, you could have sterling silver and rose gold or something like that. But you generally don't see a multitude of colors unless you start getting into like really cheap plastic flutes and things like that. And same with clarinet, it's generally woodwind, so it's generally a wood, generally black that you see. I do have a metal clarinet, but that's normally an older style and it's not as common these days. So there's that to look into as well. And both ukulele and guitar have tuning pegs up here and a headstock, which is nice. So they come with essentially the same features and sound hole and all that kind of stuff. So they are similar looking for sure, but they do sound different. With the guitar having a bigger body like this, it gives it more room to vibrate and resonate, which does give it a deeper sound. It's similar to hearing the difference between a violin or a bass or a cello in orchestra. That is all I've got for you guys today. Those are the differences and similarities between ukuleles and guitars. If you learned something, please make sure to let me know in the comments that you got something from this video and that you enjoyed it. And if there's anything else that you guys would like to learn about music or other instruments, or that you'd like to hear me perform, let me know in the comments below as well. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, give it a big thumbs up, and hit those bell notifications if you haven't been getting all of the notifications that you should be. And thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more content. I am posting weekly, so whoop. Bye!